My sister and I unlocked the selection system. The system asked, 1 billion and your mother, which one do you choose? My sister chose 1 billion without hesitation, and then she married into the wealthy G family and received a 1 billion betrothal gift. And I lived an ordinary life with my remarried mother. Who knew that less than 3 years after my sister got married, the G family went bankrupt? Her husband took the money and fled to another country, leaving her alone in jail. After she was released from prison, the first thing she did was to kill me. When I opened my eyes again, she and I returned to the day of making a choice. This time, she took the lead in choosing her mother. I smiled, and finally someone went to that tiger's den for me. I choose my mother. When might win sisters King said this. There was a pride on her face that was not concealed at all, just like the expression she had after making a choice in her previous life. Last time she chose 1 billion, but ended up with such a miserable end. It seems that this time she is full of confidence in her choice. I had no choice but to accept the 1 billion yuan gift from the Ji family and marry Ji Tingzhuan, the son of the richest man in the country. The day we got married was a sensation across the country. The leaders in various fields came to attend our wedding, but the groom didn't. Zhang King married him like this in her previous life. It's funny to say that Ji Tingzhuan is very childish. He refused to attend the wedding just to prove that he was still sincere to his white moonlight. In fact, I know in my heart that whether he married my sister in the previous life or married me this time, it was because his family urged him to get married, and we looked very similar to his white moonlight. In his words, we were barely pleasing to the eye. Because of the groom's absence, the wedding scene became extremely awkward. I stood alone next to the witness and saw King standing in the crowd. Her face was full of mockery. The last time she got married, she encountered this situation. She was anxious and angry and cried loudly on the spot, making the already awkward scene even more awkward. This time she must be determined to come and see the joke. My sister has been like this since she was a child. She can't stand me living better than her. When she was young, she was very playful. I studied hard and was always praised by the school for my good grades. She was so angry that she teamed up with the school hooligans to bully me. Thanks to her being like this since childhood, I have become calm and indifferent to fame and fortune. I had no complaints and went through all the procedures arranged by the MC with a smile on my face. When I went down to toast, several wealthy wives praised me and said that I was generous, neither humble nor arrogant, and could handle such a situation calmly. They all thought that I had suffered a great injustice and could only hold it in my heart to keep up the occasion. But what they didn't know was that I really didn't care. It's just a wedding. It doesn't matter whether the groom comes or not. As long as 1 billion is deposited, it's done. After all, I didn't get married for that stupid man. On the night of the wedding, as soon as I got home, my mother-in-law flew into a rage at Ji Tingzhuan, scolding him for being useless and not considering the overall situation, almost causing the Ji family to lose face. Do you know that if it weren't for Hanan holding up the seat today, our family would have become a laughing stock for everyone? Facing the accusations of his biological mother, Ji Tingzhuan looked indignant. The mother-in-law was very disappointed. I don't know what you are dissatisfied with for marrying a girl like Han An. Do you really think Han An is marrying up? If you ask me, it's our family that is marrying up. Do you know that Han An is? Okay, stop talking. Ji Tingzhuan interrupted the conversation. I don't care who she is. As he said that, he got up from the sofa, walked to me in 3 or 2 steps, and stared at me directly, without any warmth in his eyes. You are just a substitute, and a substitute should have the awareness of a substitute. Remember, I will never touch you, and don't think about working on me. Oh my God, this stupid smell that makes me feel uncomfortable all over. If my mother-in-law wasn't there, I really wanted him to stay away from me. I have a misogyny. I forced out a fake smile and said, that's the best. Zheng Qing was even more anxious than I thought. It had only been less than a month since I got married, and she was eager to come and show off to me. In order to prevent me from rejecting her, she even made up a perfect excuse and asked my mother to tell me, your sister has found a very good boyfriend. I'm afraid she will be cheated. How about you help me see what that guy is like? We met at a coffee shop, and the location was set by Zheng Ying. Before we met and talked for a few words, she started to show off. This is my favorite shop. She took Lin's Iking's arm and smiled sweetly. Yang really spoils me. He knows that I like this place, so he immediately signed up for an annual membership here. I said, with Zheng King's monthly salary of 2,800, there is no way she can afford the expenses of such a high-end coffee shop. It turns out that she is spending other people's money to show off her own power. I remained calm and smiled politely. Then I have to thank Mr. Lin for taking care of our business. Yes, this coffee shop is my property. After all, I have 1 billion assets, all of which are in the bank to earn interest. It's boring. It's normal for me to take it out to make some investments. Zheng Ping was originally holding a cup of coffee to pretend to be artistic. When she heard this, she immediately put the coffee cup on the table. Don't invest randomly, even if you have money. Be careful of bankruptcy. I guess she noticed that Lin's Iking looked at her with some doubts. So she took a sip of the cup and said slowly, what I mean is that I have seen it now. Money is not important at all. What's important is whether the people around me are sincere. Speaking of this, she talked a lot about Lin Speaking's good points, saying how he was young and promising, and how he obeyed her in everything. I looked at Zheng King and felt sorry for her. What on earth has my sister been blinded by? She still doesn't understand after living a new life. Money is not as important as a man's sincerity. What crazy talk is she talking about? Besides, what kind of person is this Lin Speaking? How could I not know? In my previous life, I also had a relationship with Lin Iking. We met at a party at Wu Dixing's house. At that time, he was Wu Dixing's favorite student, and my mother was talking about marriage with Wu Dixing. Lin Iking is handsome, and at the age of 30, he is already a top expert in the industry, and he treats me very well. There is really no reason for me to refuse such a person who pursues me fiercely. But my mother listened to Wu Yixing's advice and refused to agree to this marriage. Lin Ziking actually asked me to get on the bus first and buy the ticket later, but I decisively refused. Who knew that my refusal would reveal his true colors, and he began to spread rumors about me all over the world. I was greatly troubled by this, and it took me a long time to calm it down. Later, I learned that he was in a hurry to marry me because his identity as an industry expert was fabricated. In fact, he had long been unable to work in the company, so he wanted to use Wu Dixing's identity as a university professor to find a position in the university. Can such a man be sincere? Even if he is, it is nothing but trash. However, compared with Wu Dixing's dirty thoughts, his bad deeds are nothing. While Lin Ziking was in the bathroom, I decided to give Zheng King a warning. After all, she is my own sister, and I don't want to see her fall into the clutches of that bastard. Don't worry about the surname Lin. Wu Dixing and our mother won't agree. I took a sip of coffee and added, to be precise, no matter who you are with, they won't agree. Stop talking nonsense here. Aren't you just jealous? Your husband won't touch you, so you can't stand me on Dake Yang being so affectionate. Besides, Uncle Wu is also very good to me. You didn't have a good relationship with him before because you were not a nice person. It seems that you think you are very popular with Wu Dixing, that I have nothing to say. That words don't persuade the damned, and mercy doesn't save people. I have been very busy recently, busy making money. In addition to that coffee shop, I actually have several other businesses. With money in hand, it's very refreshing to invest, and finally, my previous dream of doing business has come true. In the past, I always thought that when I saved enough money, I would open my own store. In those years, I almost did all the jobs I could do. I knew everything about the production, sales, and after sales of many products. However, it is not easy for a lousy worker to save up the capital for business. I never achieved my wish until I died. But now I think that it is the valuable experience accumulated from these grassroots jobs that allows me to understand the market, customers, and most importantly, employees better than other investors. After half a year, my 1 billion not only did not decrease, but I made a lot, but I didn't plan to tell anyone. That day, I was lying on the bed, looking at my bank card balance with great joy. Ji Tingzhuan suddenly broke into the bedroom and stared at me with an unhappy face. Woman, don't think you can get my attention by pretending not to be interested in me. I raised my head and looked at the eyes of a fool. Damn idiot. If you have nothing to do, find something to do. Don't hang around in front of me all the time. I'm busy counting money and don't have time to care about you. I don't know where Ji Tingzhuan got angry and he scolded me. Money, 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 money. You're just like other women. You only know how to spend money. I was disdainful in my heart. I only knew what the end of spending money was. I'm afraid I know much more than him. After all, there is Qing Qing's previous experience. She was extravagant and brainless before, and she spent the 1 billion dowry in more than 2 years. When she spent all the money, she remembered to maintain the relationship between husband and wife, but it was too late. At that time, Ji Tingzhuan was already fascinated by Bai Guang. I am different from her. I never thought about maintaining this non-existent relationship between husband and wife. Why waste time doing such meaningless things? Isn't it better to concentrate on making money? A month later, my mother-in-law and I boarded a plane to Country F. She was going on vacation, and I was going to do market research for idols, and secondly, because I couldn't stand Shi Tingzhuan. He has appeared in front of me more and more recently, and every time he looks like a domineering president woman. No matter how much you pretend to be indifferent, it's useless. I won't look at you more. I don't know how to express my dislike for him. I really look down on this kind of man who does nothing every day. With a president like him, can the company really operate? Regarding this question, Ji Tingzhuan quickly gave an answer by his own actions now. He does not have the most basic decision-making ability that a leader should have. In the more than half a month since arriving in Country F, my mother-in-law has received calls about company affairs every day, most of which are from Ji Tingzhuan himself. He is a man who is almost 30 years old, but he is like a child. He has to ask his mother's opinion on everything. He can't make any decisions, let alone deal with the changes in the business world. My mother-in-law had a headache and could only book a ticket back home in advance. I came out for vacation just to see if Tingzhuan can manage company affairs independently without me. Now it seems that I really overestimated him. You are much more mature than him. These few days, when I saw you doing research, I thought of how I followed his father to manage things when I was young. I still said what I said at the beginning. It is really high for the Ji family to marry a girl like you. Looking at this elder in front of me who spoke earnestly and had a kind face, it was difficult for me to connect her with the evil mother-in-law mentioned by Zhang Ying. But at this moment, I understood that my mother-in-law was not targeting anyone. She simply hated trash. She hated her own useless son, not to mention Zhang Qing, the useless daughter-in-law who had accomplished nothing. Coincidentally, we had a common language in hating useless people. The first thing I did when I returned to China was to set up an entertainment company and recruit trainees. I, Zhang Kei Chan, must eat this bowl of rice in the entertainment industry and eat it well. After my mother-in-law knew about it, she greatly supported my career, invested a lot of money, and used her own connections to get a lot of face-to-face opportunities for my trainees. At first, I was a little resistant and didn't want to owe her such a big favor, but she said something that dispelled my concerns. Don't think I'm pampering you. I'm talking about business. I can't put all my eggs in one basket, not to mention that G's Enterprises rotten basket doesn't look reliable. With her help, my trainees soon became famous. It just so happened that there was a program called Form a Group Trainees being prepared recently. I signed up for the trainees, and as one of the sponsors of the program, I sat on the judges' panel as the group manager. The trainees from various companies appeared one by one and performed their talents, but everyone knew that these were just foils, and the purpose was to highlight the person who would appear next. Hello, everyone. My name is Lin Qingyan. Lin Qingyan, the recognized favorite to win the championship, the white moonlight that Ji Tingzhuan has been thinking about. I have to say that Lin Qingyan's face is worthy of the high price she spent, and it is indeed never boring to look at. No wonder that idiot Ji Tingzhuan was fascinated by her like he had lost his soul. But how beautiful she is, how terrible her talent show is. A rap without any sense of rhythm made me feel sick. The image is very good, but the business ability needs to be improved. I asked myself if I had said it tactfully enough, but I didn't expect that Ling Qingyan's team was as bad as she was. They were crazy about marketing the victim's personality. Lin Qingyan also intentionally or unintentionally revealed her old love affair with Ji Tingjuan, guiding the public opinion to portray me as a vicious woman who stole someone's love and married into a wealthy family by paying for it. As soon as the show was broadcast, the popularity of her and me overshadowed all other trainees, which was exactly what her team wanted. Now the most concerned thing for the melon-eating crowd is the attitude of Ji Tingjuan himself. In fact, everyone in the industry knows that it is impossible for the president of a listed company to respond to such gossip. However, they overestimated Ji Tingjuan's IQ. I received a call from him. As long as you admit that you are pretending to be indifferent to me, I will reluctantly help you this time. Damn idiot, I shouted this sentence that I had been holding in my heart for a long time, and I hung up the phone directly. So, half an hour later, I saw the headline: President Xi publicly supports Ling Qingyan, unpublicly releases the token of love. Ah, you idiot, did your brain get kicked by a donkey? I drove to Ji Tingjuan, slapped him, and cursed. He covered his red face and looked at me blankly. The last person who hit me was my mother. Woman, you are playing with fire. If you continue to be so confused about public and private and tell everything, then you will really play with fire and burn yourself. What do you think Ling Qingyan is? He smiled and raised his lips. Woman, you are really jealous of Yan. You are not worthy. Tired. Destroy it, really. I originally thought that I could sound a warning bell for him and keep him away from Ling Qingyan, so that my mother-in-law's efforts would not be in vain. However, it seems unnecessary now. With such a leader, it is really unreasonable for Ji's enterprise not to go bankrupt. Ji's rival Jiyu Guang Group did not give up this great opportunity. Taking advantage of the gossip about Ji Tingjuan and Ling Qingyan, they made a big fuss about Ji Tingjuan's chaotic private life and found out that the token of love was actually a limited edition of a brand that insulted China. For a time, Ji Tingjuan's reputation plummeted, and along with him, the stock price of Ji's enterprise also plummeted. I looked at the deposit in my bank card, which was increasing day by day, and I was not panicked at all. He lost his property, I made my money, and we did not interfere with each other. But in Zhang Qing's eyes, it was obviously not the case. She believed that Ji Tingjuan and I were grasshoppers on the same rope, so when she heard the news of the plummeting stock price of Ji's, she called me immediately and mocked. Although I broke with A Qiang, Uncle Wu is very good to me. He bought me a lot of famous brands and unconditionally supported me in doing anything. Unlike you, although you have a rich husband, he doesn't take you seriously at all. At the end, she didn't forget to add, sorry, I forgot that your rich husband is about to go bankrupt. I hung up the phone in silence. Sometimes it is helpless to watch a fool perform. Wu Dixing is like this, spending money like water, especially on young girls. Although his pension is not low, it can't stand his spending. In the last life, my mother had to work several jobs every day, which was very hard. I also persuaded her to break up with Wu Dixing, but my mother insisted that it was not easy to find a partner who understood her. I couldn't persuade her, so I thought about earning more and helping her. It was because of this that I resigned from my position as a gymnastics teacher in college and wanted to seek more development directions. So from that day on, I became the one who worked several jobs at the same time. However, what made it most difficult for me to persist was not the pressure brought by work, but my mother's greed. She never felt sorry for me. She would only complain that I didn't give enough. Gradually, I found that my mother was a hopeless love brain. For the sake of Wu Dixing, the old man, she didn't mind using me like an animal. So what's going on now? My sister is famous for being lazy and gluttonous. It's impossible to expect her to go out and earn money. My mother can only bear it by herself. With her small body, how can she withstand such exploitation by the two of them? Sure enough, a few days later, I received a call from my mother. She kept crying on the phone and described her situation as extremely miserable. I believe everything you said, but what does this have to do with me? I said unfairly and hung up the phone. Too much state lines will not end well. Remember to let go of the complex of helping others and respect the fate of others. The schedule let's form a group. Trainees has passed the halfway point. The contestants are all trying their best to compete for the debut position. Only Lin King Yan is an exception. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I really couldn't believe that at this stage of the competition, there were still people who could perform dancing diva so badly. Her movements were deformed, her voice was out of tune, and she sang the last sentence. No one sees the joys and sorrows of the dancing diva. I endured the whole song, and I couldn't bear it anymore. No one sees my joys and sorrows. The whole studio suddenly fell silent, and I was furious and said in a stern voice, if you have ever taken a gymnastics class, you can't perform this piece with rhythmic gymnastics movements like this. Have you ever respected the audience? Have you ever respected rhythmic gymnastics? You are blaspheming gymnastics. As soon as I finished speaking, some fans behind me were quite dissatisfied. No, this woman is sick, right? Does she know gymnastics? That's right. Our YNEN has worked very hard, and the old woman is just jealous of YNEN. Lin King Yan remained calm and smiled slightly. Sister Kea Chan is right. I am really not good at this. But from what Sister said, you seem to know rhythmic gymnastics, and you know it very well. Can you demonstrate it yourself? As she said that, she raised the ribbon in her hand for performance. I understand that she is provoking me. She is smiling very brightly and delicately now, but it doesn't matter. She will not smile anymore soon. I took the ribbon from her hand and spun and jumped for a while, closing my eyes and moving smoothly and beautifully. I haven't practiced for a long time, so I'm a little rusty. I smiled and returned the ribbon to Lin King Yan. She was confused now, but what made her even more confused was still to come. That afternoon, someone on the internet dug up another identity that I had never mentioned before, the former world champion of rhythmic gymnastics. They were all honors I had won in the past, and I didn't think there was anything to mention, but the outside world cared about my identity far beyond my imagination. In less than half a day, the news about me spread all over the internet. Everyone was amazed at my excellence and admired my low profile. I said, how can an ordinary person marry into the richest man's family? You have to be good enough to be worthy of it. What nonsense are you talking about? That's a world champion. Hey, the G family is marrying up. Thanks to my identity as a world champion, the reputation of G's enterprise has also recovered, and the stock price that has been falling for more than a week has finally shown an upward trend. G's family managed to escape death, and my mother-in-law finally felt relieved after hanging her heart for many days. I told you that your G family was very lucky to marry Hanan. You little brat, you know what's good for you. It took me a long time to find out that the person who first announced my champion status on the internet was actually hired by my mother-in-law. I asked her why she did that, and she said proudly, my daughter-in-law is so outstanding. I can't let her be bullied by those little trash. I was like a fish in water, and Lin King Yan's life was not so good. After the dancing diva incident, her popularity plummeted, and the company threw a lot of resources at her. But her poor business ability made all these resources go down the drain, and the company could only consider promoting other people. In this way, Lin King Yan became the company's abandoned child. I don't know where the evil wind came from, which caused the public opinion to speculate that I would take the opportunity to trample Lin King Yan to death so as to promote my own trainees. Lin King Yan herself even lost her last bit of face. She cried in front of the camera, saying that she was under a lot of pressure, in a bad state, and felt targeted. She might withdraw from the competition at any time because she couldn't stand the pressure. The Water Army also exerted their strength at the right time and kept insinuating that she was suppressed by me. In fact, these are just a fight of trapped beasts. She has been abandoned by the company. This is a fact that is set in stone. No matter how much she struggles, she is just paying for the marketing accounts to generate income. I just need to watch quietly. But I forgot that I still have a pig teammate like Jai Tinjua. This time he stood up and made his position clear at the first time. However, unlike last time, he stood firmly on my side this time. I rushed to his office, looking at his face that looked like he was asking for credit and reward, and I was furious. I told you to distinguish between public and private matters last time, but you can't remember a word. Do you have a pig brain? He didn't understand and was furious. Woman, I'm protecting you. Why are you still not satisfied? What do you want me to do? My phone vibrated in my pocket, and I picked it up and saw it, and my eyes went dark. The actions of the rival company were faster than I expected. After seeing Ji Tingxuan's outrageous remarks, I contacted the public relations department as soon as possible to minimize the impact of public opinion. Now, it seems that I was still a step late. Negative news about Ji Tingxuan has spread all over the internet. Ji Tingxuan came out to speak for Zhang Ke. Are you sure he is not adding fuel to the fire? It's so funny, a rotten cucumber still wants to establish a passionate personality. For a while, all kinds of romantic news about him were dug out. Of course, I know these are all fake, but the melon-eating crowd doesn't care about these. For 3 whole days, the heat of this matter remained high. I was determined to let him clean up his mess. He struggled for more than a month, but didn't make any progress. In the end, it was my mother-in-law who stepped in to help him settle it. At the family dinner that day, my mother-in-law was exhausted. I'm old and I've wanted to let go for a long time. This is the last time I will help you. Don't ask me about all the business matters in the future. Listen more to your wife. He was quite good at applying what he learned. Wife, do you have any suggestions for the future development of the company? I took a sip of red wine and looked at my mother-in-law. Mom, if conditions permit, I suggest you have another child. It's raining cats and dogs. There is really nothing that can make me worry-free recently. Just as Ji Tingxuan solved the mess he had caused, news came from my mother that she was sick and hospitalized. As soon as Ji Tingxuan and I arrived at the ward, my mother complained to me, "Stinky girl, you are finally here. You have some conscience." It's too early to praise. We are actually here to get back the 500,000 that Ji Tingxuan gave them. This idiot wanted to curry favor with me. After hearing that my mother was hospitalized, he transferred 500,000 without saying a word. Fortunately, he came to me to take credit immediately afterwards. Otherwise, I would have lost 500,000 in vain and was kept in the dark. Then, Tom Pia-chan, you are too outrageous. It's okay that you don't pay yourself, but you are going to take back the money given by your brother-in-law. I looked over coldly. Zhang Qiang had just returned from outside with a lot of bags, followed by Wu Dixing. It looked like the two of them went out shopping. My mother was so tired that she fell ill in order to feed these two vampires. Unexpectedly, they still had the leisure to go shopping. How dare they say that to me? Oh, you bought so many luxury goods. You didn't use the 500,000 you and my family lent you, did you? Why do you care about me? The money was lent to me by my brother-in-law. It's none of your business. Oh, your brother-in-law regretted it and planned to get it back. Zhang Qiang looked at Ji Tingxuan with her big eyes, flickering. Brother-in-law, is what he said true? I looked at Ji Tingxuan calmly. He nodded obediently like a kitten being manipulated in exchange for a smile from me. I turned to look at Zhang Qiang. It's okay if you don't pay it back. Just pay the interest. Zhang Qiang took out her mobile phone to transfer the money while cursing. You dirty-hearted person. You only care about money. How can you value feelings like me? I looked at her and then looked at Wu Dixing, who had been courting her behind her. If you value feelings, that's the best. Uncle Wu has deep feelings for you. In the blink of an eye, it was the night of the group formation. Under the witness of hundreds of millions of people, Han Zixi, who was from the same company as Lin Qingyan, emerged as a dark horse, won the championship, and debuted as the center. Maybe many people think this result is surprising, but I understand that this little girl's strength should match such a reward. I have seen her practicing dancing alone late at night. I have seen her crying and falling to practice difficult moves, and then getting up and practicing again. I have seen her practicing with a high fever of 40 degrees and a drip. To be fair, she works harder and is better than all the trainees under my company. Now she stood at the center of the stage, holding the trophy and crying like a child in front of everyone. She sobbed and expressed her endless gratitude to me, saying that it was thanks to me that she reached this position today. On the eve of the competition, the outside world had been saying that I had been using capital to suppress other trainees in order to make my own artists famous, and there were even many unscrupulous marketing accounts asserting that the final C position must be my trainee. However, reality slapped these people in the face. I did use capital, but my capital was used to support Hanzi IQEN. During that time, the trainees had rumors that Hanzi IQEN wanted to withdraw from the competition. For such a girl who loves the stage, she must have been forced to withdraw from the competition. After I sent someone to inquire, I found out that it turned out that her father was seriously ill and had no money for treatment. Without saying a word, I covered all the medical expenses for her father, which made her worry-free and concentrate on the competition. Dreams are precious, and children from ordinary families should be brave enough to pursue their dreams. I hope you will never give up easily. I am here. I thought that after the recording of the program, I could stay away from all the right and wrong and have a good rest for a while, but unfortunately, the secret recipe of G's Ace product was leaked. In the previous life, the G family was unable to recover from this incident and went bankrupt completely half a year later. This news was a sensation at the time. My sister cried and told me that it was Lin Qingyan, the bitch, who saw that she had no hope of getting promoted. So she turned to the arms of the president of GU Oguang Group, and the secret recipe was leaked by her from Ji Tingjuan. But in this life, Zhe Tingjuan follows my lead every day and has long since broken up with Lin Qingyan. How could you still be in her way? Ji Tingjuan hesitated. She said, if I don't give her the secret recipe, she will find someone to kidnap you. I held my forehead. Guess why she didn't just kidnap me? Is it because she doesn't like me? I yelled angrily. I go out with 2 bodyguards every day. What can she use to tie me up? Do you have a brain? Even if she is kidnapped, what's more valuable, am I or the secret recipe? You are valuable. You are more valuable than anything else. Ji Tingjuan answered immediately. Besides, there are so many product lines at home. You don't rely on this one product to make a living, right? I was so angry that I really wanted to take his head apart and see what kind of structure is inside. Seeing that my expression was getting uglier, he whispered, what should we do now? Said to listen to you. I sighed and looked out the window. I'll show you a clear way, or you can jump down now. The scene was very embarrassing for a while, but fortunately my cell phone rang in time. As soon as I pressed the answer button, I heard my mother's ghostly howling. Come back soon, your sister is in trouble. Zheng Qian cried like a tearful person and couldn't speak coherently. My mother also kept hesitating, as if she had something to hide. I listened for a long time before I understood what happened. To put it simply, my sister was almost raped, and the person who raped her was none other than my mother's new partner, Wu Dixing. I know my sister is stupid, but I didn't know she could be this stupid. What should I do now? Your sister is like this, and your Uncle Wu has also run away. How can I live the rest of my life? Oh, I was annoyed by her howling and said impatiently, what can I do? Call the police and catch the man first. My mother's face changed drastically when she heard this, and she began to stop me in a hurry. No, no, you can't call the police. Your uncle will be finished. Besides, flies don't bite seamless eggs. If Yin Yang is more decent, men won't rape her. Oh, it's still the familiar mother. When I told her in the last life that the old pervert had bad intentions towards me, she had the same dead attitude. From that moment on, I understood that my mother was a complete love-brained person. She would rather think that her daughter was a slutty woman with bad behavior than admit that her lover was an old pervert. Zheng Qian didn't cry now, but her expression looked more desperate than before. While my mother was out, she started to challenge me. You knew he was this kind of person, right? Why didn't you tell me? Oh, of course, how could I not know? I was just smarter and more decisive than her. When I found out the true face of Wu Yixing and realized that my mother would not stand on my side, I escaped from that devil's den at night and started to live alone. Almost all the money I earned before was Anne's, so my life was very hard after leaving home. I also tried to seek help from my rich sister, but she was in her prime at the time and didn't even look at me. Now you actually come to accuse me. You have such a big face. I looked at Zheng Ying and said angrily. She was stunned by what I said, and I looked at her contemptuously. What if you live again? What if you change your choice? You can see it now. No matter what you choose, you will be the loser. Do you know why? Seng King bit her lower lip tightly. Her expression became ferocious, and her eyes were full of hatred. I approached her, touched her pretty face, and said with a smile, "Because you are stupid. You always put your hopes on others, and you never think about changing anything by yourself. Silly sister, even if you live 100 times as a fool and a waste, you can only perform 100 ways of dying as a fool. I will kill you." Suddenly, she rushed up regardless of anything, grabbed my collar, and tried to strangle my neck. However, she had just made a move, and the next second she was pressed to the ground by the bodyguard who rushed in and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. I squatted down, looked at her carefully, and sighed, "TSK, TSK, TSK. You don't really think you are still at the same level as me, right? I am giving you face by letting you get close to me, and you actually want to kill me." She was pressed to the ground, struggling and squirming like a madman. Oh, it can't be said that she is like a madman. She should be really crazy in this state. That night, my mother called me crying. "What should we do? Your sister went crazy and jumped into the river. She was lucky to be rescued in time, but she was crazy before she jumped into the river, and the cold water made her mind even more abnormal. Now she goes crazy when she sees a man. When she goes crazy, she wants to kill people." My mother had no choice but to pay for her to be sent to a mental hospital. "Are you sure you don't want to help? Your mother is suffering," Ji Tingjuan asked cautiously, glancing at me secretly like an old eunuch waiting for an imperial decree. I rolled my eyes at him. "Don't worry about her. Her cognition is worthy of her suffering. You should worry about your own business. I heard that the workers have not been paid for more than 2 months and are about to make trouble." He patted his chest. "Don't worry about this. I have a solution. You can wait and see your man's performance in 2 days." I looked at him doubtfully and muttered to myself, "Can I really trust him?" I have to say that Jiting Zhuan never disappoints me in terms of disappointment. In a few days, he answered my question with his actual actions. I can't trust him at all. He called together employee representatives of the company and held a so-called mobilization meeting. Seeing his ambitious look, I thought he really thought of a good way to get through the crisis. Who knew he would actually propose to suspend the workers' wages and give a long speech? I know everyone is having a hard time, so I am willing to set an example. From today, Jai Tingshuan, will no longer receive wages like everyone else. I believe that as long as everyone works together, we can definitely overcome the difficulties. The smell of this capitalist vampire made me feel sick. How could the worker representatives in the audience listen to his nonsense? They all shouted to beat him up. Just when the situation was about to get out of control, a figure walked up to the podium in a heroic manner, raised the thin stick in his hand, and hit Ji Tingchuan's back. The audience was silent. Ji Tingchuan was stunned for 2 seconds, looked back, and looked unbelievable. The one who beat him was not someone else, but his own mother, and the one who handed him the stick was not someone else, but his own wife. "This stick is for the workers." My mother-in-law held the stick in her hand, her face serious. "You are the son of a rich family. Of course, you don't live on wages, but have you ever thought about how these ordinary workers can support their families without wages?" The anger on my mother-in-law's face gradually dissipated, replaced by a feeling of disappointment. "I have never let you suffer a little, but I didn't expect that this would harm you and make you such a waste." Shi Tingjuan rubbed his back where he was beaten, looking aggrieved. My mother-in-law pushed him aside with disgust, changed to a smiling face and waved to me, motioning me to go on stage. "Don't worry about the future of the company. I promise that the salary will be paid as usual in the next 2 months. After 2 months, if the company cannot continue to operate, I will pay everyone the corresponding compensation according to the law. But I believe we will not reach that point because my good daughter-in-law has already prepared a complete set of response plans for this crisis." She gently took my hand and said, "Oh no, I should call you Chairman Zhang. I now officially announce that Ji Tingjuan has resigned as chairman." A familiar female voice sounded behind the crowd. "Zheng Kai Chan, don't be too happy too soon. I have spent a lot of money to open up the relationship with the Zhang family, and your raw material supply chain will be cut off soon. Even if you have great ability, you can't make it work. This is a dead chess game. Lin Qingyan came uninvited, and the words, Great Revenge, were almost written on her face. Jiting Zhuan, you have a wife and you threw me, your old lover, away. Then don't blame me for being cruel. I didn't expect that the family business your parents worked hard for would be ruined by me alone. She walked through the crowd and came to me surrounded by bodyguards with a provocative look on her face. Zhang Kei-chan, you took the position that should belong to me. You are really looking for death. Jie Tingzhuan protected me behind him and began to use his domineering CEO quotes again. If you deliberately want to provoke me, I tell you, then you succeeded. Go to the side. I said impatiently, grabbed Jie Tingzhuan's collar and pulled him back, throwing him behind me. I walked forward facing Lin Qingyan's provocative eyes, and my momentum was not inferior at all. You don't really think you have one, do you? In the last life, Zhou Guang Group relied on cutting off Ji's raw material supply to lock in the victory. It just so happens that I worked as a live-in nanny for a while in my previous life, and my employer Zhang Weiping was actually the boss of Ji's raw material supplier. It's just that things were already a foregone conclusion at that time, and I couldn't do anything about it. But this time is different. When I found that things were developing in the original direction again, I estimated Lin Qingyan's next move and contacted Zhang Weiping first. Zhang Weiping divorced early in his life and never remarried. He took care of his 5-and-a-half-year-old daughter Maya alone and spoiled her to death. Maya has been extremely picky about food since she was a child and always didn't eat well. For this reason, Zhang Weiping spent a lot of money to find someone to regulate her, but it didn't work. Until I appeared to correct the picky eating habit of this little girl. After she ate normally, her personality also improved a lot, and Zhang Weiping was very grateful to me for this. Since I was able to grasp Maya clearly in the last life, this time is of course no problem. The Ji family and the Zhang family have been business partners for many years. Taking advantage of this relationship, I invited them to the dinner and presented them with the chestnut cake I made myself, which is Maya's favorite. The little girl really fell in love with it and ate several pieces. Zhang Weiping was shocked at the time and insisted on asking me for a recipe, saying that he would be willing to pay any price. I don't want his money, but I want him to ensure the continuous supply of raw materials. He agreed very readily and went home with my recipe satisfied. My mother-in-law was not very reassured. Aren't you afraid that he will regret it? No. Even if Lin Qingyan tempts him with benefits in the future, I dare to guarantee that he will not regret it. Maya will get tired of that chestnut cake after eating it for 10 days and a half months, and she will have to come to me for help. And I have hundreds of recipes for Maya's favorite foods, which are enough to keep him for more than 10 years. After Lin Qingyan received a call, his face turned blue and purple, which was very ugly. Aren't you born not to laugh? Seeing that she was choked by me and didn't say a word, I took advantage of the victory and said, Is it Zhang Weiping who called you? Did he tell you that he would not agree to your request? Oh my, he doesn't want your dirty money. She was furious and brushed up to me to tear. Ji Tingzhuan was a waste in terms of brain power, but his reaction speed was enough. He grabbed Lin Qingyan's arm and pushed back fiercely. You can't touch my Ji Tingzhuan's woman. At this moment, the domineering CEO's quotes didn't seem so disgusting. Lin Qingyan was pushed and staggered, and his eyes signaled the bodyguards around him to hurry up. Ask yourself, in fact, I really want to see if the battle-damaged version of Ji Tingzhuan would be more pleasing to the eye, but reason tells me that if we really fight, it may not be as simple as battle damage. So I stopped them. Brothers, if you protect her now, she will be sued and go to jail in the future. And you can't get your wages. Don't blame me for not telling you in advance. Huh? What crazy are you talking about? You don't know yet. I have submitted the report materials to the relevant departments, saying that you violated trade secrets and used unfair means to compete in business. The money you gave to Zhang Weiping has also been submitted as evidence. What should we do? Someone may go to jail. Lin Qingyan's ability to withstand pressure was too poor, and he fainted on the stage. Ji Tingzhuan gave me a thumbs up. Wife, you are great. What would I do without you? I wasn't afraid that our mother's hard work would go to waste. I really wouldn't bother to take care of your mess. I said, G's enterprise is the hard work of my mother-in-law, and it is not an exaggeration at all. She told me about her struggle history when she was young. When I went down to toast, several wealthy wives praised me, saying that I was generous, neither humble nor arrogant, and could handle such a situation calmly. Since then, I founded G's enterprise, and I have been even busier. There is nothing that I don't worry about. You don't know that those years have caused my health problems. The doctor said that if I continue to work so hard, I will not be able to keep the baby in my belly. My mother-in-law recalled the past with a sad face. But even though I have been working hard for the company for so many years, I don't have a formal position in the company. Ting Zhuang's dead father always said that women can't be entrusted with important tasks. She was a little angry, and when she said this, she suddenly became proud. He calculated everything, but he didn't expect that he would be a short-lived ghost. After he died, his son in the company would have to listen to me. Thinking about this, I feel relieved. My mother-in-law is usually an elegant lady, but I didn't expect that she would have this attitude when talking about her late husband. I think it's a bit absurd, but more cute. I smiled and said, Fortunately, Ting Zhuan is not like his father. He supports me taking over the company. He dares to try not to support him. My mother-in-law took my hand and said gently, My dear daughter, you must remember that we women are no worse than those big men. We don't have to hide behind them to support them. I understood and nodded with a smile. After weighing the pros and cons, I still called the police without telling my mother. Wu Disheng was sentenced to 6 years in prison. On the day of arrest, my mother came to me and said that I ruined her happiness in the second half of her life. I said that couldn't be done, there was still happiness. So I turned around and sent her to the happy nursing home. Ji Tingzhuang was sent to the grassroots for training. In the words of my mother-in-law, he had to experience all the hardships he had not experienced in the past 30 years, so that he would not be so unpromising. In order to ensure that he would not receive any special care, my mother-in-law deliberately concealed his identity and sent him to one of the most remote factories under the company. At first, Ji Tingzhuang cried and threw a tantrum like a naughty child who didn't want to go to school. This situation ended on the day he received his salary. With a monthly salary of 1,500, he acted like he was making 15 million. That day, he called me to show off his 1,500 yuan. This is the first time I've earned money through my own labor, and the first time I feel that my life is meaningful. This is the joy of labor. Since then, Ji Tingchuan has become more and more motivated, and he has repeatedly won advance towards by carrying large bags in the factory. I used to think that I had spoiled him, but I didn't expect that I had chosen the wrong route, and he was actually a physical type. My mother-in-law left this sentence and embarked on her vacation trip with her suitcase. But I was not so leisurely. G's enterprise and my entertainment company were both thriving, and I was busy making money and counting money. This feeling of pain and happiness is really fascinating.